All right, thank you for the short break. That was a lot of fun, a lot of energy. I want to give my fellow board members an opportunity to acknowledge or recognize members of the community or staff members or students. Does anybody want to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, Mr. Steve.
I wanted to say thank you to Croton Elementary for having me today. Roseanne Bennett's the principal over there. I think she's the longest active Title I principal in our school district, but she's been there for a long time, and it shows. One of the things we have in many of our Title I schools across the district is there's a lot of veteran teachers in there. There's a lady at Croton Elementary named Miss Leslie Walters, and she actually is, I think, teaching the grandchildren of the kids that she started teaching. And she's been there so long that there's a tree in the back that she planted that's like 35 feet tall. So big shout out to Miss Roseanne Bennett, the staff over there at Croton Elementary, along with Leslie Walters. I wanted to say congratulations to Sue Han, although she's on vacation right now. If you guys notice, all of the projects start to roll about now for the summer. So everybody knows that we gear up over the summer for the majority of our construction. And if you look at our agenda tonight, there's a lot of them. So I wanted to say thank you to Sue Han and her crew, and I appreciate her, and that's all I've got today.
Thank you, Mr. Susan. Ms. Jenkins?
Yeah, I'm just going to do one tonight. I just want to congratulate 24 of our BPS schools that earned the School of Excellence designation. And this is coming from the State Board of Education. When a school has placed in its school grade calculation in the 80th percentile for 2 out of 3 of the past years. So there's 24 of them. I'm going to name them real quickly. We've got Cape View Enterprise, Freedom 7, Gemini, Holland, Indian Atlantic, Lewis Carroll, Longleaf, Manatee, Ocean Breeze, Quest, Roosevelt, Sea Park, South Lake, Stevenson, Suntree, Surfside, Tropical, West Melbourne, Delora, Edgewood, Satellite, Vera High, West Shore Junior Senior, and there are 2 charter schools on there. So way to go, BPS, be the charter schools. Woohoo!
Thank you. All right, Ms. Campbell?
I said it.
All right. I've got just a few. First of all, thanks to Miss Anna Woodbury, who is the media specialist at Hoover, for inviting me to a special event where she had students at that middle school read one of the Sunshine State Reader books, which is about local Florida history, called Treasure Tracks. It's about a hurricane and Spanish gold sunk off the coast of Florida and all kinds of fun things. But what was really fun was having one of our community partners, Hats Diving, came in and did this whole presentation about diving in our area, and like taught them about the equipment and the animals that you can see when you dive in our local area. So it was super fun. But thank you, Miss Woodbury, for putting that together. It was a really fun event. On Friday, I was at Bayside in the morning before our luncheon meeting, and got to observe our Tied Together group and our JA Women in STEM groups going on there with hundreds of kids in the auditorium and in the gym. And I'm just so thankful for all those partners. I'm telling you, Tied Together, there were like at least 3 dozen men there from the military, from the local businesses, and of course the volunteers who were there all the time, local elected officials as well, getting in there, teaching young men how to tie a tie, how to have a handshake, the history of the handshake, how to just mentoring them and helping them think about their future in a serious way. And I really appreciated Junior Achievement for bringing in a female astrophysicist, and who gets to like climb on rockets, like she's rock climbing gear and test for radiation on the outside of the rockets and do all kinds of fun stuff. And then one of the architects from a local architect firm. So it was really great to have those partners back in our school and have so many students get to participate. Then on Saturday, we had our Destination Kindergarten event for the South area at Max Rhodes Park. Thank you to Russ Brune and his whole team, and for Ms. Harris and her team, and the principals and staff at the elementary schools from the South area. They were out there putting on fun events, and we had food trucks and bounce houses, and just helping families get ready for kindergarten and experience a little bit of what it might be. There were musical instruments and PE things. I had hula hoops and all kinds of fun things for our community. And I know we're going to be having our North End event on April the 20th in Titusville. So be checking out our webpage and our Facebook page for you guys who have almost kindergartners in the North End, so you can come and have just as much fun. Maybe, I don't know if you can have as much fun as we have in the South, but maybe almost as much fun in your area. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. Mr. Trent?
Yeah, I have a few things. I had the opportunity to go with Miss Dr. Rendell to visit a few schools today. And, you know, we visit a school here and there on a daily basis, but it was interesting what we did today was start out at Audubon and end up at Merritt Island with Stevenson in between there. So we were able to see from first grade all the way to 12th grade. And it's really a great day to see the opportunities that we have here in Brevard, but to see them and say at third grade, learning how to tell time and read, and then, you know, ending the day in auto shop at Merritt Island High and see these young adults just getting ready to go out into the world with some skills. But in between, it was a great day. We were able to see you know, the band performances, which Dr. Rendell will probably say none of us have any talent in that area. It's amazing what's going on out there. And then also, even at lunch, what you can do to bring a school in as a community, where over at MI, where they brought in bags and in games out in the courtyard, and it really solidified that team of school kids there. It was great to see that. So, I mean, we could sit here all day and go through the classes that we saw. We saw kids up out of their seats, learning, engaged. Student engagement is huge in BPS. We're really stressing that, and these schools are knocking it out of the park. So, teachers, great job. Administrators, great job. And students. So it was a good day, and it's like that every single day at our district. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trent. All right. I have a few, and I'm going to go as quickly as I possibly can. I missed a thank you for the Destination Mars. So there are so many people that were a part of that Destination Mars event that took place over the course of, I guess, a couple weeks, right? 3 weeks, I believe it was. But Melissa Brown was one of the individuals who was here and always welcoming, and I didn't give her a shout out, and I apologize. I'm terribly sorry. Thank you for all the hard work you did there. Also wanted to give a shout out. So starting April 1st, all of our schools at this point are now being mowed every single week. So Ms. Han gave us a presentation at the parent leadership meeting, and this is an area that we get a lot of phone calls. Believe it or not, you would think a lot of the things are, hey, there's an issue at a school. It's a lot of times it's going, hey, our grass isn't mowed. We need our grass cut. It doesn't look good. We get a lot of complaints on that, believe it or not. But Ms. Han has worked, her team has worked diligently. They have contracted out many of these different vendors that are helping, but as of April 1st, all of our schools are being cut every single week. That's going to be a huge difference to the appearance of the front of the school. So thank you to that team and all the hard work they're doing. Thank you to the parent leadership team. We met for the very last time, was in April. This is a group of parents that are advocates for their school, that find out things that are very important, and they take that information back to their schools and help educate the parents about some of the stuff that's going on within the district. And so to the parents that devote the time there and are dedicated to this district, I thank you so much. That's a huge blessing to our district. Board, want to also remind you, May 3rd is our School Lunch Hero Day. I think many of us participated in this last year, so going to go ahead and put that challenge out. Go ahead and get ready, get your hats or your haired nets ready, because we're going to go serve on May 3rd. So pick a school, if you will. One of the other fun events, we get invited to a lot of different events, which is it's so much fun. But I got invited to a backyard barbecue competition this past weekend, and I thought that's really a weird event for me to be invited to as a school board member. But what I found was that this particular organization, which is the Sharing Center, the Brevard Sharing Center, they donate the money that they raise. They provide meals for entire families on the weekends for a lot of our schools, that families that just don't have food in their household on a weekend basis, and that's something most of us don't think about. But this event was tremendous. It was amazing. They raised around $55,000 in the course of one day with barbecue to go ahead and feed a bunch of families. And they're focusing
barbecue.
Specifically really on Endeavor, is the school that they're loving on intentionally. But I just want to thank them for all the hard work that they did, and the community really showing up and showing out and providing many families with a lot of different meals. And then I have one last one that's going to really, she's going to be upset with me, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, Miss Jackie, are you in the back there? She's going to, I might hear nothing. All right, Miss Jackie's in the back.
Hey,
Okay.
Miss Jackie.
Miss Jackie.
You have to come out on camera.
Miss Jackie, you got to come
You
out
have to
front
come
here
out on
for a
camera.
minute. She's like, don't do this to me. Please don't do this to me. All right, let me I'll brag on this person. It is Miss Jackie's birthday today. So happy birthday, Miss Jackie. I have flowers and a present for you. But I want to tell you about her, and she's so special. So we have this oil can award that happens, and it's a way that the employees can brag on other employees that really help them in the district. And I love reading the positive things that are going on, and there is never an oil can award moment where Miss Jackie's name is not on that list. I don't even know how many times. So from the bottom of my heart, I know you're behind the scenes. You make the magic happen. I love you. We appreciate you. I want to celebrate your birthday, so you have flowers and a present up here. So come up here for just a half a second. Let me give them to you, and then you can go back in the back. And yeah, I want to tell you happy birthday. Yes. These are for
Miss
you, my
Jackie.
friends. Yeah. Is she on the camera? Hold on, wait. Get it. Oh, come on.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Happy birthday.
Yay.
All right.
That was nice of
All right, Dr. Rindell.
Just going to be real quick. I want to make a correction to something that Mr. Trent said earlier. We go out on these school visits, and a lot of times school board members go with me on these school visits. And usually when we go into a music room, most of us don't have any musical talent. There is one exception. Mrs. Campbell has musical talent and skill. And many a music room we've walked into, and she jumps right in and plays with the students, whatever. I remember we were at a school 2 weeks ago or so, and she jumped down and started playing the piano. So just a correction. Some of us don't have any musical talent, but Mrs. Campbell certainly does.
Fair enough. Good correction. All right, wonderful. At this time, we are going to recognize the Melbourne High students who have earned their CNA industry certification, excuse me. There you are, coming on up to the podium. The Director of the Career and Technical Education, Miss Rachel Rutledge, and the Health and Sciences Instructor at Melbourne High, Miss Robbins, are you here? Okay, you are there. All right, you're going to come to the podium, and you have the floor.
Good evening, Chairman Wright, members of the board, Dr. Rindell. I'm so excited to welcome our newest certified nursing assistants to healthcare in our community. I'd like to introduce you to Susan Robbins. She is such an amazing instructor at Mel High. She serves as a mentor for other healthcare teachers throughout the district, and her kids love her, and she's providing them with relevant skills in a high-demand, high-wage career path in our community. And also standing here with us today is Jenny King. She is a CTE content specialist that provides fabulous support to our healthcare instructors and more throughout the district. So, Sue?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And yes, I have to have Jenny up here with me. Good evening, Chairman Wright, members of the board, and Dr. Rindell. First and foremost, I would like to thank Dr. Rindell for inviting us for this special honor. Thank you to Rachel Rutledge, our CTE director, and to Jenny King, my advocate at CTE, whom I would not be here today without her invaluable and consistent assistance over the past 5 years. A special thanks to my daughter, Courtney Booz, a 10-year Mel High teacher and our current Teacher of the Year, who has helped me tremendously with all things teaching and classroom. Thank you to Dr. Kirk, I know I saw you come in, and the Melbourne High School administration, board members, and Brevard Public Schools for supporting this awesome program. I would be remiss if I did not pay homage to Eastern Florida State College, who partners with BPS to allow their full patient care assistant dual enrolled program to be offered on our high school campuses. This year, I was especially grateful that Eastern Florida approved a second program, which helped account for the highest number of certified nursing assistants passing the state exam at one time. Before I introduce our Melbourne High School patient care assistant students, I'd like to take a moment to explain the dedication put forth by our students. These students spend 2 periods every day with me all year long, understanding healthcare as it relates to a certified nursing assistant. They have to master 22 bedside skills, which you've been privileged to witness us practicing. In addition to completing 40 clinical hours, 20 of those must be met at a skilled nursing facility per the Florida Board of Nursing. And the remaining 20 are completed at a hospital. Because our partnership with Eastern Florida, because of this partnership, students have the opportunity to complete the required clinical hours through our local healthcare facilities. Just yesterday, these students began their clinical hours at Holmes Regional Medical Center. So if you notice any dark circles, we're tired, but it's for a good cause. Health First has also played a huge role as a business partner, and believe me, it's been beneficial to all of us. Every May upon graduation, these students can begin working immediately, provided they are 18 years old. And I would say probably about 50% of my graduating PCA students go on to work as a licensed CNA in our local nursing facilities or hospitals. They earn a good paycheck while giving back to their community. A lot of these students, like past ones, will go on to further their education in healthcare and work part-time as a licensed CNA to help fund it. I'm so proud of them. Since the beginning here at Melbourne High School 5 years ago, I am happy to report a 100% pass rate, including 2 students that did retest prior to graduation and passed. In addition to their CNA license, these students will also earn their Career in Technology certificate from Eastern Florida. Every spring, I do have a pinning ceremony where students take a pledge dating back to Florence Nightingale, who was known as the pioneer of modern nursing, and it's similar to the Hippocratic Oath that physicians take. Family members who also happen to work in the healthcare field are meant to pin them with their CNA pin. So it's a very touching little ceremony. But tonight, we would like to present these awesome students with a CTE industry certification pin from the district. I'm honored to present to you, and I will read them one by one, all of Brevard County's most recent licensed CNAs. So yes, guys, you have to come up one by one when I call your name. And Dr. Rendell will have the honors. Yeah, well, you can just hand it to them. So first, Morgan Alderman, alphabetically here. Oh, boy.
Now you'll just stand.
They're loving this, yes.
You're doing great.
They got up very early this morning. Brooklyn Brown. There we are. Nathan Charleston. I know, it's been a long day. You're okay. Macy Colazzo, who was not able to be here. I have a couple in a row, but some of these kids have been working and they couldn't get off work. God bless them. Liz Daniel, Lexi Dykus, Melina Fair, Jamesia Flowers, and Ryan Flamini. Also here tonight, Carly Gray. And next we have Katie Huffstetler. Vivian Hun. Brianna Leva, sorry. Marcel Laurente. Excited to have a lot of male students this year. They're representing well. Ariana Maldonado. Emma Neal. Mara Palmer. Rayanne Ruth. Wyatt Rycroft. Emma Schaaf. Caden Stevens, and she could not make it tonight. So next, Jenna Turner. Dakota White, and I don't think she could make it tonight. And last but not least, we have Anna Woodbury. And this group may be taking care of all of us soon, right?
Hey, before we take a photo, I'm gonna take a personal point of privilege here to say, I need you guys to understand how incredibly critical and important what you just did is, not only to your future, but to the community. For the past 2 years, I have been in and out of hospitals and nursing facilities and rehab facilities and eventually hospice with my mom. And this is such a need in our community. They're very low staffed, and it is one of the most important things and the most often frequent faces families see when they go inside of those rooms, and they're scared and they're worried and they're concerned. And I'm so proud of you to have chosen this path, and I'm really proud of you to have completed this. So thank you, and I hope all of you continue to go forward in this path in your future.
I just want to take just a second because this is one of the CTE programs that I brag on often. And, you know, we've talked a lot about how we need to stop with the stereotype that everybody needs to go to college. Everybody knows not everybody needs to go to college. Some people need to go straight into the workforce, and this is one of the programs that they can. But this is a great either-or program. So before you guys leave, I just have to share, this is a great, when she talked about them graduating, going to school, and potentially paying for their future education, let me just give you an example. A couple of years ago, there was a student who graduated from this program at Mel. She wanted to go into like astrophysics or something, some crazy STEM, you know, but she went through this program, graduated, and got a job making $25 an hour at a nursing home in our area so that she could go to college and potentially work her way and graduate with zero debt. So whether this is your future path or whether you choose something else and you do this on the side, what a great choice for you to make for this, to lose 2 electives, right? To pick 2 electives to go in this career. Great job, because this is your future, even whether it's temporary or long term. You've made a really great choice, not only to give back to the community, but for your own future and your own family, to be able to pursue further education if you choose to, debt-free. I think it is a great job. And so I love this example as a both and. You can do college and career and pay your way through without student loans. Yeehaw. So thank you guys for coming tonight. We're really proud of you.
Yes, congratulations. All right, give them just a minute. I couldn't recognize how many there were because they were scattered in the audience.
Yeah.
They weren't all sitting together, so I was like, oh, another, and another, and another. There's a lot of them. We just graduated more CNAs than any of the nursing schools that we've been graduating in class.
Class was third. I think it was class of third.
30.
I think so.
That's amazing.
On the list.
Amazing. Yes. Like, honestly. Wow.
We've got another team. Here they come.
We do. All right. Okay. I know. You guys, last but most certainly not least, we have let me get to the right part here, the Future Problem Solvers team, Miss Chloe Rad and the team from West Shore Junior Senior High School. Welcome.
Hello.
Come and share with us the amazing things you're doing.
Thank you. My name is Chloe Rad. I'm very excited to introduce to you our community problem-solving team and their Leading with Reading project today. I'm the sponsor of Future Problem Solvers at West Shore. This is an academic team in which students apply research skills and out-of-the-box thinking to solve problems. There are many types of competitions under the umbrella of FPS. And this is the first time that we've decided to compete and tackle CMPS, which is community problem solving. It's very involved, it takes a large group, a lot of time, and a lot of dedication. Miss Alex approached me at the beginning of this school year with her Leading with Reading proposal. And I knew with her drive, leadership, a great group of problem solvers, and the help of her mom, our volunteer parent coach, Michelle, that she and her group would be successful. And successful they were. They won first place at the state level in civics and cultural issues category. So I'm beyond excited for you to learn more about their project. Please join me in welcoming our CMPS group.
Hi, I'm Alex Beavers, and this year a group of friends and I started a project called Leading with Reading. So Leading with Reading was started as a way to find a problem in our community and solve it. And first we chose literacy rates because according to what we could find online at Creel Elementary, the elementary close to our school, approximately 65% of third graders are behind in reading. And that was a really big problem to us because when you're behind in reading, by third grade, reading is used in almost all learning. So the books are sent home and you have to do things independently in class. So if you're behind reading, you fall behind in basically every subject. And that has a lot of lifelong impacts. So she's going to talk about that.
Hello, my name is Sophia. So one of the impacts that literacy has on children is mental health. So with mental health, kids who struggle with illiteracy may feel frustrated and isolated, and because of this, it may become disruptive in class, which interrupts other students' learning. Another effect is physical health. If they may not be able to afford health care, which also translates into not being able to read about like healthcare practices that they can perform at home. Incarceration rates, about most of the people in jail have below a 4th grade level reading. For taxes, we lose about $100,000 per person who doesn't graduate high school, and we lose productivity. Students who for lifetime earnings, students who struggle with illiteracy or are behind in reading have are unable to get like a higher paying job or struggle to get a high paying job and end up having like a low financial income. For next generation, if these kids can't like teach their own kids to read or struggle to teach their own kids to read, it's like a extra burden on the schools to teach their kids how to read. And most kids who are literate are more commonly are going to drop out. If that makes sense.
So for our project, we decided to work with first and second graders every Wednesday and Thursday. So we wanted to work with first and second graders because third grade, like I said, is kind of where it becomes a lot more important to read, and we wanted to reach them before that deadline. So every single week on Wednesday and Thursday, we drove from our school to Creel Elementary. We worked with the students for about 30 minutes to practice reading with them, with books that were provided by the media specialist at their school. We also collected books so we could practice reading with them and give them a book every single week. So we went to book publishers and our library, and we made posts on social media, and we collected hundreds of books to send these kids home with a book every single week that they could pick out and keep to build home libraries. And we also wanted them to practice reading and writing at home, so we had a letter system. Every single time we came in to practice reading with these kids, we gave them a letter, and the letter said things like, "Hi, how are you? Are you reading at home? What's your favorite movie?" And the kids got to write back and practice reading and writing at home. So it wasn't limited to just 30 minutes twice a week. They also got to do a lot of things at home, and they enjoyed writing letters back. Another thing is results. So after about 9 weeks of our project, we started talking to the teachers and the literacy director about improvements in our students' reading. They said that they all had noticeable improvements in their reading scores and in their enthusiasm to be reading. All the kids had a reading buddy that they went with every single week to meet with. They got a lot of practice during school hours. They had an hour a week for weeks, and we're still doing it. We started in January, so they've had every single week consistent reading practice. And it's also very exciting for them. They really like it a lot. They have the buddy that they meet with. It makes it a lot more exciting for them, and it encourages them to read. So every single time we come in, we've noticed that they get a lot more excited now than they were in the beginning. Because in the beginning, it was like, oh, someone's practicing reading with me. We read every single day in school. It's no big deal. But now they like us a lot. We made friends with the kids. They have the same volunteer every single week, so they build a relationship with them. They enjoy it a lot, and we can tell. And the teachers have noticed as well. They've also told us. A lot of the kids we dealt with also had like 1 or 2 books at home when we started. And that was really important to us. That's why we contacted, Facebook and book publishers and our libraries to get free books to give to these kids. And they're not just books that we pick out for them. The kids get to pick out books every single week that they enjoy. So we have books about like space and Spider-Man and princesses, and they all get to pick out like at least from 11 books. We bring more books than we have students. We have around 20 students every week. We bring 30 books. So even the last kid gets to pick from 11 books. So they have books that they really enjoy. And on top of that, they have practicing reading and writing skills. So there have been noticeable improvements in their reading and writing since we've started this. They're happy to read and write now more than they were when we started. Another thing is, so this program was really good, and we have made a lot of really good improvements, but a big issue is time. So all of our volunteers have to cancel their lunch plans or studying during lunch, because lunchtime at our school is an hour long. So it's most of the time study time and clubs and things like that. So whenever our volunteers volunteer with us, they have to miss out on, studying and clubs and eating their lunch. So it's a lot of stress for the volunteers. It's also during school hours, during our lunch, so the kids have to be taken out of class to come with us. So we'd like to do an after-school program next year. But the main problem with an after-school program is that we don't have a way to get these kids home. So we'd really love to have a bus stay later, about an hour after school next year, so we can bring the kids home after tutoring. But even if that's not possible, we would really like your help to bring this to other schools. So we're not at every school, obviously, so we really need help getting permission to do this at other schools. We would love to help you guys put this at other high schools and other elementary schools, but we would need help for that.
So this program, Leading with Reading, is entirely run by students with no parent or teacher assistance. The QR code on the screen shows more information about our project. So when we went to states, we ended up placing first, which means that we're going to internationals during the summer at Indiana. Kids First is a nonprofit organization that is helping us with our funding in order to get there. So please welcome Ms. Diaz, who is a part of this organization.
I'm not a part of that organization. I'm actually the literacy coach at Creel Elementary, so they just wanted to let me tell you guys how important it was for our students. Our first and second graders loved them coming every Wednesday and Thursday, and on the few days that they couldn't make it, our kids were truly upset. We've also been tracking those students to see their fluency, because that's one of the things we're doing, and their word count per minute and their accuracy rate for the students that they are specifically working with have actually gone up. So we've seen improvements with them coming and actually working with our students twice a week.
Amazing. Yeah, good job.
Try that again.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Evans. I am the founder of Kids First. Kids First Inc. was founded back in 2020 in the midst of the wonderful COVID. It's our mission to raise funds to support or create programs that improve and expand opportunities for youth in economically impacted areas of Brevard County. Some of our programs, one is fundraising, which is kind of why we're here this evening. We also have a music program, a wilderness camping program, and a vocational program. Kids First saw a need to help the parents and families of these wonderful students. I actually saw Michelle Beaver's post on Facebook. She was searching for books for the kids to take to the schools, and I had reached out to her, giving her options of where I knew how to get some books for the kids. Then when she reached out again on Facebook, she was stating that the kids had won the state competition and were looking for funding to go to the international competition in Indiana. I met with Michelle and her husband and got to know her and her family and their daughter who spearheaded this entire program. Their initial registration fee for each of the students to attend is $500. That fee does not include any of their transportation, their food, or their lodging while they're at the university. What we're looking to do is to help in any way possible to fundraise with them, asking the community for assistance, businesses, individuals to donate through Kids First, and we have a link through their slideshow. And the money would go directly to supporting the students and families to pay for these children to attend what I see as pretty much a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to compete at an international level. Girls?
Thank you for letting us speak. That's our whole project, so thank you.
Thank you so much. Board, do you have any questions or comments that you?
Yeah, can you remind me, I think you said it, and if you didn't, I'm sorry, then can you tell me, how many other student volunteers did you have?
So we had around a total 13, but some of those kids had clubs during school, so it really depended on the schedule per week.
So I love that not only did you do something really effective, but I love that you have aspirations to continue it going forward and to expand it. And so when you were talking about sending the kids home with letters, I just kind of thought of something, and I think I just want to throw it out there to you guys to brainstorm on, because I'm sure you'll take it to another level, being the incredible students that you are. But it would be difficult to convince many other students to do this or to do it across the county, but maybe you guys can think of something to create kind of like a pen pal relationship with some of those students. Of course, it still counts as volunteer hours, right? But it does exactly what you said. A little bit of that reading skill, even just 5 minutes a day, makes a huge difference for some of our students that are severely behind in literacy, and then also gives them that opportunity to write back to you. So I would love you guys to kind of think about that too for some of those schools that may not be able to implement exactly what you guys are doing, but might be a little easier for a different high school to implement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I wanted to know what grade levels the team, what grades are you guys in?
So we had mainly 8th graders, because that's what grade all of our friends are in, but we also had some 12th graders who had gone to Creel Elementary when they were an elementary school volunteer, and that was really helpful because they could drive themselves to the school.
Yeah, it's nice to have drivers. I can speak in my family about that. So it's great to see. So are y'all 8th graders?
Yes.
Wow. So, I was just thinking, at West Shore and Edgewood, they have those senior projects and so you guys are already doing all this work and volunteering and everything, and it's not even counting towards your senior project. So kudos to you especially for that.
Thank you.
But sounds like the work has paid off, and congratulations for getting first place, and hopefully the community will go back to that QR code. If we can get that QR code back up for a few minutes before they're done, so that the public can grab their phones really quick on the screen as they're watching watching our lovely board meeting and go there and read some more about your project and also maybe donate. So really proud of you girls and your whole team, the guys who weren't here that were in the picture. Good job. And I hope that you do inspire some other schools to create maybe a club like what you guys have started and get that going with elementary schools that are nearby.
Thank you.
Thank you. When I was a teacher, I was a community problem-solving sponsor, and I found that out of all the clubs, because I usually sponsored between 10 and 15 clubs a year, I just gave the room to it, this was the most important one, because you actually accomplish a task inside of the community and try to solve it. We were successful in bringing awareness towards the power plants in Port St. John at the time, and we did an amazing job, just like you went through it, and I want to tell you guys how proud I am for you to be able to accomplish those goals and look forward to the longevity of what you're trying to say, because it is arguably our number one focus is to have our students being able to read, as you indicated inside of your speech. So thank you so much. I will be donating to your group, and everybody should be able to, because one of the things that we run into is these kids could do a better job at their competition if they're not trying to fundraise. So if you can allow them to, if you can donate to their club, and then you can get them there, then they can actually be prepared to win the next step, because we want you guys to win as far up as you can. So let us know how we can help you, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trent.
Quick, great job. It's amazing the creativity that our youngsters, our youth has, and this is another example of it. And it's one thing to recognize a problem, throw some solutions out there, write a paper, do a presentation, but you've created something that can last beyond yourselves, and that's bigger than yourselves. And that's something that, maybe 10 years from now you can come back and see really how this has taken off and grown. I know our community can use it. The data points were spot on before third grade reading. I know our community is on top of that, and us as well. So you had the perfect opportunity to do something wonderful here, and you have. So we'll do the best we can do to get you to that next step. So thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, I commend you, ladies, honestly, to come here and present such a, this is amazing results that you've come up with on how to help these students achieve this goal of reading. You have my utmost support, so I too will go on and make sure that I donate, and I'm hoping the community will respond in the same way, because I'm excited for you to go to nationals. I think you're going to inspire other teams to look at this same issue, because this issue exists everywhere. It's not just here in Brevard County, and so I'm excited for you to share what you guys have discovered, what you've created, because I believe it really will ignite some interest and maybe some other groups that will start, and then maybe we can tackle this problem from a nationwide standpoint. So job well done. Thank you for all the hard work and the volunteer hours that you've put in. I have no doubt you will go on to do amazing things in the future. Dr. Rendell?
Can't really say anything better than what's been said so far. I think it's fantastic that they took a problem that exists in our local community, fellow students, and are attacking it in the way that they are. I just can't wait to see what we do next year. So well done and good luck.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
absolutely. Thank you, ladies. Appreciate you tremendously. Okay, this brings us to the adoption of the agenda. Dr. Rendell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On this evening's agenda, we have administrative staff recommendations, 2 proclamations, 33 consent items, 4 action items, and 6 information items. Changes made to the agenda since release to the public include the following: removal of item F43, easement and bill of sale to Brevard County Utilities. Revised items F13, administrative recommendations, F15, meeting minutes, and F52, book review and challenges.
My mic turned off?
Move
Do I
to
hear a
approve.
motion? Second, all right. Is there any discussion? No. Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Jenkins? Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
All right, we are now on to the 2 proclamations that we have on tonight's agenda. Mr. Susan will read the first proclamation, which is for the month of the military child.
Thank you for your service. Month of the Military Child. Whereas thousands of brave Americans have demonstrated their courage and commitment to freedom by serving the armed forces of the United States of America in active duty posts all around the world. And whereas we recognize that the many of the Patrick Air Force Base's youth have been directly affected by many changes in permanent station, causing them to move many times during their childhoods, military deployments, or separation of at least one parent, and the difficulty of reintegration period that follows all deployments. And whereas these children and youth are a source of pride and honor to us and all, and it is only fitting that we will take the time to recognize their contributions, celebrate their spirit, and let our men and women in uniform know that while they are taking care of us, we are taking care of their children and their youth. And whereas the recognition of the Month of the Military Child, first established in 1986 by Defense Secretary Caspar Weinberg, will allow us to pay tribute to military children for their commitment, their struggles, and their unconditional support of our troops. Because when parents serve in the military, their kids serve too. Whereas everyone is encouraged to wear purple on Wednesday, April 17th, as a visible sign to thank military children for their strength and sacrifices. And whereas a month-long salute to military children and youth will encourage local community support to provide direct support to military children and families and reinforce the strong partnership that we have cultivated between Brevard Public Schools and Patrick Air Force Base. Now therefore, it became proclaimed that the Brevard Public Schools recognize and celebrates the April 2024 as the Month of the Military Child, and April 17th, 2024 to be the Purple Up Day for military kids in Brevard County, adopted in regular session of the School of Brevard County of this 9th day of April 2024. So, good job, you guys.
Thank you. I think we have Colonel Anthony Graham. Is that?
Yeah, I was
That
gonna
is
say-
you. All right, you are here. You're the Vice Commander of the Space Launch Delta 45, and you're representing the Patrick Space Force Base. For us longtime Brevard County residents, we still struggle with calling it the Air Force Base. I apologize for that, so we're still trying to wrap it around that. Would you like to say a few words about this?
Yes, I want to thank you guys, first of all, for everything you guys have done for us and our children out there. I had the privilege of going through kindergarten through 12th grade in Brevard County.
Good job.
So I definitely appreciate everything you guys continue to do and making April the month of the military child, where we get a chance to create awareness to some of the unique talents and lifestyles that our children go through being a child of a military parent or maybe even two military parent. But also, I want to take the opportunity to say thank you for what you guys have done, both the school board and the Brevard County teachers there, of giving back to our students out there, understanding some of the things they go through and helping them get through the things and continue their education. The state of Florida has about 39,000 military kids within the state. That's fifth in the nation that we have there. And at Space Launch Delta 45, we've got a number of students that go to school throughout Brevard County, from Titusville all the way down to Palm Bay. And we are very excited to celebrate the Purple Up Day on April 17th, and you'll see a lot of purple if you get a chance to come out to the Space Launch Delta 45, being aware of that day. But also, on behalf of General Panzerhanger, our commander, SLD 45, and the great men and women of Team Patrick Cape, I want to once again say thank you guys for what you guys do and taking care of our kids. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. You know what? I just skipped right past this. I know Mr. Gibbs is probably going, oh. So you read the proclamation. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right. Is there any discussion? All right. None. Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Jenkins? Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent? Mr. Susan?
Aye.
All right. Do you mind if we take a quick photo with you and the proclamation? Is that okay? Because this is a big deal for us. We're very excited. Our second proclamation for this evening is the National Child Abuse Awareness Month. Miss Katie Campbell is going to read this proclamation for us.
All All right, and I've got my our community members who've come to join us, and just wanted to acknowledge everybody walked in today. You saw all the blue pinwheels that Dr. Rendell and Ms. Wright and our staff here at ESF planted, and I think some of you guys were there. I saw in the picture to remind us all the month long that that April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas children are our nation's most vulnerable members, as well as our nation's most valuable resources, helping to shape the future of Florida. And whereas positive childhood experiences like loving caregivers and safe, stable, and nurturing relationships can help mitigate trauma and the negative impact of adverse childhood experiences to promote the social, emotional, and developmental well-being of children. And whereas childhood trauma can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects throughout an individual's lifetime and impact future generations of their family. And whereas childhood trauma, including abuse and neglect, is a serious problem affecting every community in the U.S., and finding solutions requires input and action from everyone. And whereas children who live in families with access to concrete economic and social supports are less likely to experience abuse and neglect, and whereas prevention is possible because of the partnerships created between families, prevention advocates, child welfare professionals, education, health, community, and faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and local, state, and national governments. And whereas we acknowledge that in order to solve the public health issue of abuse and neglect, we must work together to change hearts and mindsets through storytelling and sharing, center the needs of families, break down bias and barriers, and inspire action from expected and unexpected partners in prevention. And whereas we are committed to advancing equitable, responsive, and effective systems that ensure all children and families are healthy and thriving, and whereas we recognize the need to prioritize kids and invest in more prevention initiatives like home visiting and family strengthening policies, economic supports, and community-based child abuse prevention programs at the national, state, and local levels. Now, therefore, the School Board of Brevard County, Florida, does hereby proclaim April as National Child Abuse Prevention Month and urges all citizens to recognize this month by building a narrative of hope for children and families through collaboration and the creation of an ecosystem of primary prevention that does not currently exist in this country. Adopted in regular session of the School Board of Brevard County on this 9th day of April, 2024.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Second. Okay, any discussion? No. Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Jenkins?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent? Aye. Mr. Susan?
Aye.
All right. Do you guys want to come forward and share a couple of words about your organization and things that you guys are doing? I know a lot of
Sure.
wonderful things in the community.
So again, I thank you so much. My name is Jessica Miles. I work with Brevard Cares, which is a local child abuse prevention agency here in Brevard County. But we're part of a larger group, which is the Child Abuse Prevention Task Force of Brevard, which is made up of the school board, Brevard Family Partnership, and many of the child abuse prevention agencies here in Brevard County. And what we hope is that with our work together, we can get the word out about what resources are available to families so that they don't have to feel that they have to resort to abuse, abandonment, or neglect. We are here to stand in the gap. We're here to get the word out. We're here to make sure that people have a place to turn if they're in need. So we appreciate the partnership that we have with the schools because, you know, children are in school a good 8 hours a day, you know, so that's, the teachers are the eyes and ears sometime. And we are so appreciative of that partnership because without that, we wouldn't be able to see children most of the time. So we are so grateful again for all of your work as board members and Dr. Rendell. We appreciate so much just the work being done tirelessly to ensure that children grow up happy, healthy, and safe. And that's what the pinwheel represents. That's why we plant them, because it just, you look at it and you're happy. And that's what we believe all children deserve, but more importantly in our community in Brevard. So we're gonna do whatever we can to make sure child abuse is eradicated out of Brevard County.
Thank you. I absolutely love that. We wanted to take a photo with you too as well, if that's okay with the proclamation.
Sure.
And then board members, do you want to add?
Yeah, before we do the photo, I just, this is the perfect moment to segue and just kind of make a public announcement. Outgoing Senator Lauren Book, state senator, is hosting through her organization Lauren's Kids on Friday in Brevard County. For the month of April, she walks 1,500 miles across the entire state of Florida. And so Friday on the 12th, around, I think it's noon or 1 o'clock, she is hosting. It starts in Satellite Beach. I believe she's walking straight up to Cocoa Beach. Please check it out. If you can be there, register. It's a wonderful organization to help prevent child sexual abuse and spread hope for victims and families across the state.
Absolutely. We'll be there too.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll be there too. I'm already signed up. All right, we're gonna take a photo with you real quick. Okay. But we don't, they're not here, they're not in the room, so.
Correct, we're not doing, but
Okay, all right. We did vote on the second, I got it right that time, Ms. Kimball, I didn't do it out of order. All right, so we're now at the administrative staff recommendations. Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Any discussion? No, Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Jenkins? Aye. Ms. Campbell? Aye. Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent? Aye. Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Okay, and can we take a 5-minute restroom break, just so that,
Absolutely.
yeah, we're at almost
the
7
chair.
o'clock. So we'll take a 5-minute restroom break and resume back at 6:55. All right, we are now at the public comments portion of the meeting. We have 8 speakers signed up this evening. You will each receive 3 minutes. In an effort to remain unbiased, the speakers at the podium, the parliamentarian, will be calling up the speakers, and he will also manage the time clock. I'd like to take this opportunity to remind the public of the rules written out in Board Policy 0169.1. All comments should be directed at the board or individual board members. Staff members or other individuals shall not be addressed by name. Abusive, obscene, or irrelevant comments will not be permitted. Orderly conduct is expected from all public comment participants, and the presiding officer may interrupt, warn, or terminate the participant's public comment opportunity. Mr. Gibbs, will you please call up the first 3 speakers?
Hyla Mercer, Bernard Bryan, Gregory Ross.
Thank you, board members, for the opportunity to speak about House Bill 931, known as the School Chaplains Bill, which was recently passed by the Florida legislature and awaits action by our governor. To be transparent, I am a person of devout faith. I serve as an elder in my church. In this case, elder does not mean old. It means I was asked to serve as a spiritual leader by our congregation, and I accepted the call. If the school chaplain bill becomes law on July 1, these chaplains will serve at the discretion of district school boards and charter school governing boards. Please do not adopt a policy to authorize volunteer school chaplains in district public schools here in Brevard. The supports, services, or programs that these school chaplains may be assigned will be your decision and your responsibility. The only requirement to be a school chaplain is to pass the same level 2 background check required of all volunteers in our schools. No other educational requirements or religious affiliations are required or specified in the bill. Are these chaplains to fill the gap left by too few guidance counselors in Florida? Do they have the training in child development, student support needs, and mental health services to do so? Do we want people in our schools who are not trained to meet children's needs, but rather their own need to proselytize? At a time when our school district is battling to elevate student achievement and close the achievement gaps between subgroups, our #1 priority, why would we divert our attention to the potentially unintended harmful consequences of this bill? At a time when professional educators have been accused of being potential groomers and indoctrinators, why would we kick down the door for indoctrination by authorizing school chaplains in our public schools. At a time when universal vouchers have made it easier than ever for Florida parents to use state funding for their children to attend private religious schools, why would we need public school chaplains to further blur the lines between church and state? If it becomes law, please refuse to authorize the school chaplain bill. Do not put people in our schools who may not be adequately trained to meet the complex social and emotional needs of our children. They may do more harm than good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bernard Bryan, Gregory Ross, and Kelly Kervin.
Thank you, Chairman Wright and Dr. Rendell on board. My name is Bernard Bryan, and I'm representing the concerned citizens of South Brevard, as well as the South Brevard branch of the NAACP. I don't think I've missed a meeting in the last 2 years. If I missed, it's probably one. So many will ask, why am I here? Number one, I love God, and number two, I love our children. That's why I'm here. I'm like John the Baptist, crying in the wilderness, pleading for our children. Just a couple of things I'm still concerned about, and I hope that this team will continue to keep this on your radar, is the math and reading gaps among all children. I was very happy to see this group called Kids First talking about reading. And when you interviewed one of the students that was playing the jump rope, one said, "I love math." So that's what's motivating us on the south side. You know, what can we do to help close the achievement gaps in that area? So thank you so much for the attention with the VPK program and those marginalized communities. And we believe that's one of the keys to help close that gap. Second thing I want to bring out to you, we just received a report on the risk ratio. African American risk ratio students is 2.52%, 2.52. So I'm asking this board, if you can, do a deep dive analysis so that we can get to the root cause. Why is it 2.52? And then thirdly, I would like to mention, you know, when I look at Brevard Public Schools, we see that the attendance rate of students is declining. We see 63,000 students that are enrolled in Brevard Public Schools. But when you look at the data, we see 25,000 students in Brevard County is enrolled in private schools or charter schools. So you're talking around 28%. So we are concerned about the voucher program taking children from Brevard Public Schools. And then I'm also like to challenge, you know, we have 38 C schools, 4 D schools. And I'm hoping this board will put together a plan. How can we get these C schools to B schools level? And I believe that will make us even more competitive with the charter schools as well as the private schools. So, you know, do what you can. The community would love to see a plan. So thank you so very much for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Bryan.
Gregory Ross, Kelly Kervin, Caitlin Schlimmer.
Good evening, Board. Thank you for the opportunity to provide public comment. I'm here to speak about the book reconsideration meeting that happened last Friday. During that meeting, the committee reviewed the Action Bible. The committee voted 5-0 to retain the book, which I'm happy about. I wish they'd vote 5-0 to retain every book that goes before them. But what I'm going to talk about is the hypocrisy of that committee and the hypocrisy of the policy that this school board has implemented. Florida statute that this reconsideration committee considers 1006.28, Florida statute 1006.28. Any material used in a classroom, made available in a school or classroom library, or included in a reading list contains content which is pornographic or prohibited under statute 847.0.12. depicts or describes sexual conduct as defined in Statute 847.001. Number 3, is not suited to students' needs or their ability to comprehend the material presented, or is inappropriate for the grade level and age group for which the material is used. Now, this book was found in elementary schools. So it's Action Bible, right? How bad can it be? Well, let's take a look. One of the very first pages has Cain holding a club up over Abel's head, preparing to murder him. It goes on to Genesis 6.7, right? The great flood, right? Mass murder, genocide. After the flood, right? Noah, his wife, his 3 sons and their 3 wives, right? Repopulated the world. Do the math. How's that possible without incest? Oh, here's a good one. So here's an explicit photo of Job after Satan immediately returns to earth and strikes Job with terrible open sores from head to foot. Right? If we did that, if our justice system did that, right, gave people a disease and had them do open sores, we wouldn't allow that in a book for elementary school people. But it's okay to do it here, right? I certainly hope this board votes without hypocrisy tonight, right? I hope you vote to keep the book, but let's see. Let's see what you do. Thanks.
Thank you.
Kelly Kervin, Caitlin Schlimmer, Julia Anton.
Generally, my speeches are written as a reaction to what has already happened, but today I'm going to speak to you before you've had the chance to make more stupid, callous, and racist comments. At the upcoming board work session, this board is going to be presented with the Q3 discipline data. As the data has shown quarter after quarter, our Black and brown students and our students living in poverty are at a significantly higher risk of being suspended compared to their white peers. Q3 data is no different. Matt, the role society plays in this conversation is irrelevant when you continue to ignore the community's call for an equity audit. Jean, this isn't about making the teachers or admin feel bad. It's about a system designed for all parties to fail in the trauma experienced by our underserved students. Megan, the data isn't colorblind, and to suggest that it should be is racist. BPS needs an equity audit. You won't like the results, and frankly, I don't care because it isn't about you. You are failing our Black and brown students. You are failing our poorest students. And if you cannot start a conversation by acknowledging that, then you have no business being a school board member because you are not serving all students with excellence. You are only serving all economically advantaged white students with excellence. The Book Reconsideration Committee met on April 5th to vote on 4 books. To be clear, I don't think any book on the list should be banned. However, I'm not going to sit by and ignore the blatant bias and discrimination shown by the committee members when they use the same arguments to ban 2 books from high schools that were used to justify keeping 2 religious books in elementary schools. If this committee is going to continue, it needs professional voices to join the conversation. Having 3 district employees in the room does nothing when they can't engage in the conversation, and you need a lawyer, and I've said that from the beginning. The committee continuously references 847.001, which outlines what sexual content is, but that isn't the only statute that dictates what is and isn't appropriate for students. So while multiple committee members said these books didn't violate the quote sex statute, they never once discussed or considered FS 1006.04. This statute allows books to be banned based on age, grade level, and maturity of the students without sexual content as a consideration. Which brings me to a bigger point. Matt Susan, your rep almost got to the big picture. She said, quote, well, we'd have to pull all the religious books if we pull these. Exactly. You all are choosing to follow badly worded laws written vaguely on purpose, massive in scope, to follow a Christian nationalist agenda to indoctrinate our students while ignoring that these same laws would ban virtually every book from our classroom and library because our classrooms are filled with students who mature and comprehend topics at varied rates and speeds. You cannot standardize knowledge or comprehension, and trying to is going to get BPS sued on the grounds of discrimination, which I don't need to remind you, we cannot afford another lawsuit.
Thank you. Who's our next speaker?
Caitlin Schlimmer, Julia Anton, and Paul Raub.
Good evening. I appreciate that the board continues to honor public comment. I would like to introduce myself to establish my interest and why it is important for me to be an active member in our local community. My name is Caitlin Slimmer, and I am currently a student at EFSC, and in the fall I will be pursuing a major in education at UCF. I spent a lot of time in Brevard Public School System, and I am a proud alumni of Merritt Island High School. Go Mustangs! I am somebody who plans on raising my future children in Brevard County and putting them through Brevard Public Schools, precisely because I see and understand the importance of public education. However, I believe that the value of this education and its full potential is being harmed by the actions that have been undertaken by recent book banning policies, especially when we allow single individuals' personal preferences to guide the outcomes that affect all students in our schools. A part of the underlying logic guiding these policies rests on the notion that parents should hold the final say on what is best for their children. Although this is a commonly held idea that may be true for some families, I want to speak from the perspective of somebody who faced much harm from blanket statements like these. Growing up, I was raised in a mentally and physically abusive household where both my mother and her husband acted on my behalf according to their own self-interest rather than out of concern for what would best set me up for success. Their agenda was rooted in hatred towards anyone who did not look or think like them, and this caused them to make decisions which ultimately isolated me from valuable opportunities simply because they could not see past their own biases. If I was a student in Brevard schools in 2024, I have no doubt my parents would be challenging books that are at risk of being banned today simply because they did not agree with them and covering up their own ugliness with concern. It is disingenuous and frankly insulting to the people that have lived through traumatic experiences at the hands of their parents and guardians, as well as emerging young adults more broadly, to strip them of their voices in the decisions that affect them of their own education, and to always assume that parents have their best interest in mind. I know that for me, Jefferson Middle School and Merritt Island High School were the only locations where I was exposed to a valuable diversity of thought. Whether I agreed with all that we learned or not, I am certain that many of Brevard current students feel very similar to how I feel, that their own education's best interests are being jeopardized without much say in the matter. Taking away their choice to critically analyze opposing viewpoints. I thank Brevard schools for providing me with a safe space to explore diversity of thought, providing me with a safe space to just be in general, and for providing me with the knowledge to break my own cycle of generational trauma. I urge the board to remember that many students in our schools that cannot advocate for themselves, that are stuck in a cycle of generational trauma, that can only advocate after they get out. Be their advocate through being on this school board, and please remember that not every parent has good intentions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Julia Anton, Paul Raub, and Stephen Clemens.
Good evening. Today is April the 9th. It's one of the hugest, most important days in American history.
Whoa.
How many of you can tell me what it is? Anybody? Well, April the 9th is a really good day to Google the Articles of Secession for the states that left the Union and became the Confederacy. It's a really good day to read in their own words what they listed as their cause for leaving. I'll give you a hint. In their own words, the cause absolutely was their determination to preserve slavery. April 9th is a good day to review the Confederacy Vice President Alexander Stephens' speech, in which he told Georgians that their new country, their Confederacy, was built upon the cornerstone, that was his word, the cornerstone of white superiority to the Negro, and told them that this cornerstone of white superiority to the Negro, that the Negro's rightful place was slavery and subjugation. That's the cornerstone on which their country was built. April 9th is a good day to face some hard facts and admit that secession was indeed about preserving human slavery. It's a good day to admit the hard truth, the cold, hard truth that there has existed amongst our forebears and maybe even amongst our personal ancestors, some who were so cold and so hard that they'd rather see cities burn They'd rather see crops destroyed, see children orphaned and wives widowed. They would rather see sons slaughtered and daughters raped. They'd rather see battlefield amputations and soldiers' lives bleeding out of them. Rather see all of those evils instead of simply paying laborers for their work and letting those people make basic decisions about their life, such as where to work, what job, or, oh yeah, even whether to breed and with whom. For 159 years, since April the 9th, 1865, apologists have tried to convince American school children and their parents that the Civil War was about, well, pretty much anything but slavery. Our students are destined to be confronted with that message throughout their lives. April 9th, Confederate Surrender Day, is a really good day to resolve, once and for all, that no child graduating Brevard Public Schools will ever believe the fairy tale that the Civil War was not about slavery.
Okay.
Thank you. All right.
Paul Raub and Stephen Clemens.
Evening. Meant to bring my notes from the book review meeting, the sort of contemporaneous thoughts, and I left that notebook at home because I am sleepy and not on the ball today. But as has been mentioned earlier, it was interesting to see when the Action Bible and I think the other one was Bible Stories for Little Angels, when those came up, to hear a lot of the same arguments as to why, you know, obviously we were not going to turn those books away. But a lot of the same arguments that I've been making all along about roughly every other book we've addressed, that we do need to be looking at the whole book, that context matters, that actually somebody actually said, well, how many people are even reading this book? Which, as we'd heard with one of the books that was sent down before, I think like 4 people had ever checked it out. Same argument applies, but gets applied differently. And there was also a question as to, you know, whether those particular submissions, those challenges were disingenuous. And, you know, I'm not going to argue they weren't. I don't know, but if that is, if that's a reason to not take them at face value, are we taking a lot of these other challenges that had far less detail that simply said, somebody told me it was bad, here's the book looks page. Hi, I'm replacing the person who originally submitted the challenge. I don't see a lot of effort, thought, or any sort of actual value going into those either. I've completely lost the train, I'm sorry. I'm not going to waste everybody's time. I try to find it. But, well, what I will say is that although those may have been disingenuous and certainly, you know, seem to have been meant to prove a point, they were more detailed, more specific, and paid more attention to the requirements than I think any of the other ones that have been put before us before, and listed specific statutes that were specifically arguably violated by these books. And, you know, the marching orders seem to be, we're just looking for porn, but that's not all the statutes, and that's all anybody was talking about. And I hope that you guys might notice that, you know, there are specific statutes called out that are demonstrably violated, and if we're just going to go statutes and think of nothing else, then you probably should overrule us again. Thanks.
Thank you.
Stephen Clemens.
How y'all doing tonight? My name's Steve Clemens, I'm a retired firefighter, City of Melbourne, Navy vet. I'm glad to see y'all did something about complex PTSD. I have it. I've had it for 53 years. Let me tell you, that's the worst kind of PTSD you can have, because you live with it every day. I'm glad to see y'all do something about it. It's from bad parents, divorces, it's on a rise. Kids live with it. It changes drugs and alcohol. You have no idea. I advise all of you, I'll go take a look at what that does. So, and I highly recommend that you put a real counselor, psychologist on staff with schools, not just somebody who's got a couple classes. You'll save some kids, I guarantee you. I've had it for 53 years. So with that being said, I wish I was here under better circumstances. So you'll understand why I'm here now. Got a problem with the school. I left the card with the officer, and there's a list of stuff that I left with one of the staff up here that I've had a problem with. And this has been ongoing for probably about 4 months with one of your schools. I'm gonna leave that so that you guys get the list instead of airing it out here in public. It's been ongoing for about 4 months. I had a problem with one of the staff members at a gym, a coach, a female coach. That got solved, it was done. Now I had a problem with another male coach, which my daughter is under his control. So, and I thought it was in retribution. Come to find out, I've created quite the list of it. It's been going on. So I told my daughter, probably about 2 months ago, to go up and file a complaint with the dean. She did. Nothing changed. So I'm going to get that list. So now it's gotten to the point where the dean has been, not the dean, but the coach is now been given pretty much free will to deal his own punishment, how he sees fit. So there are kids out there at the gym are only allowed out in the sun to get 1 drink of water from the water fountain, and that's it. 1 drink in the hot sun. So my daughter denied it. So she went up and got a 2nd drink of water. Quote, "You're gonna have a rough week, this coming week, young lady." That was his quote. So I kept her out of school to let things calm down the next day. And I told her, if you got a problem with that, I'm just gonna need more time. So the next day he comes out, he beelines it right for her. She goes to the dean, all the rest of it, you'll see it. So I'll make it real quick. So with that being said, you guys know what the cone is out there at schools? Do you think if you put a child out on a cone and leave a child on a cone for an hour is in the hot sun, would you consider that cruel and unusual punishment? Would you consider it cruel and unusual punishment if you don't give that child water during that time? Yeah, I would say so. I have talked to my son, who went to that same school. He
Mr.
was 9th
Clemens?
grade now. He said, yeah, that's happening in 7th grade.
Mr. Clemens, can I ask you to do a favor? I'm going to send him back to Mr. Raymer to go in the very back. Mr. Raymer, can you speak to Mr. Clemens on the side to kind of get more details? It sounds as though you gave a packet to somebody with some information. We want to follow up on it and make sure this is addressed immediately.
Oh, he's got it. It's already been sent to him.
Okay, all right, so
I'm at the point now where
I know, the problem is we're out of time for public speaking.
That's fine.
I know, are you able to email us the rest of this, or you've given the packet so that we can look into this further, is that correct?
I got enough list here. I've got enough list of stuff right now.
Okay.
Where
All right.
I am now going to seek out legal advice. I'm done. I've got a good list. I've got other students who've been to that school, principal.
Thank you.
knows about this.
Yep, okay, thank you, Mr. Clemens.
If you look up what
I know.
does, you'll understand why I'm fighting so hard for this.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clemens. Can you send me his contact information down?
I don't have,
You don't have the info sheet?
not with me.
No? Okay. All right. All right, that concludes the public comments. We thank you for taking time out of your schedule to address the board with the concerns and suggestions. I'd like to remind the public that the board's accessible at other times when the conversation can actually ensure, so we can go back and forth and get to the bottom of things. So I always recommend any of the constituents that have an issue, the 3 minutes that you come up here and speak to us is great, but we can't respond, and it's not really a conversation, and that makes it a little difficult. So when there is an issue, I always encourage everyone, come to us and talk to us outside of a board meeting. We'll be happy to address those and try to find a solution that way. All right, we are now at the consent agenda. Dr. Rendell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are 33 agenda items under this category.
Thank you, Dr. Rendell. Does any board member wish to pull any of the items? Hold on. Does anybody, a board member wish to pull any of the items? No? All right. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
All right. Thank you. Is any discussion? Nope. Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Jenkins? Ms. Campbell? Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent? Mr. Susan?
All right. Dr. Rendell, will you please let us know about the items under the action portion of today's agenda?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first action item is H49. It's travel to the FSBA FADS Conference, June 5th through 7th, for Mrs. Campbell, Mr. Trent, and Mr. Susan.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Second. Any discussion? No. Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Jenkins? Ms. Campbell? Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent? Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Dr. Rendell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next action item is H50, procurement solicitations.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Any discussion? No. Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Jenkins? Ms. Campbell? Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent? Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Dr. Rendell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next item is H51, department/school initiated agreements.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Any discussion? I know. That was Mr. Trent. He said second, yes. Any discussion? Hearing none. Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Jenkins? Ms. Campbell? Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent? Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Dr. Rendell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The last action item is H52, book review and challenges. The recommendation is to approve the recommendations of the Book Review Committee.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
All right. Is there any discussion?
I just want a clarifying question, because I feel like we usually separate them. So is this the recommendation for all 4 books, we're just voting?
Yep.
That's what the motion is.
Okay.
All right. Any other discussion? No. Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Jenkins?
Nay.
Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent? Mr. Susan?
Aye.
All right. We will move on to the information agenda, which includes 6 items for the board review. And they may be brought back for action at a subsequent meeting. No action will be taken as of today. Does any board member wish to discuss any of the items? No? All right. We are at the board member reports. Does any board member have any further things to report or discuss?
Well, don't forget your adult ed.
No? Dr. Rendell, do you have anything further to report?
I do not.
All right. Being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.